Hello, everybody. This is Emmy After Dark, and today we're going to be talking about paranormal triangles. Actually, Gelf will be talking about paranormal triangles, and I will be back quickly. Gelf, you got it.
Yep. Okay. So with the triangles, as I said yesterday, there are plenty around the world. There is a community note that shows the sheer amounts that are around the world. Bermuda Triangle, obviously being the most widely recognized. There is the Dragon Sea, the Bennington Triangle, which I've mentioned a couple of times. The Alaskan Triangle, and there's a few others. So we may as well start with the Bermuda Triangle with regards to um, with it being the most famous of the triangles of all. So as most of you know, it's like in the North Atlantic where both planes and ships have vanished without a trace. Um, they reckon they have solved it, but they reckon they haven't. They're blaming more human stupidity on things going missing. But I don't believe that would be the be all and end all for all the answers for that. So apparently, why it's called the Bermuda Triangle, it was actually coined in a 1964 article from the American pulp magazine Agosi. The article, authored by Vincent Gaddis, illuminated a pattern of disappearing ships and planes in the area. Um, no explanations were offered, and the aura of mystery took hold. So apparently, the deepest point of the Atlantic Ocean falls within the Bermuda Triangle. At the Milwaukee depth in the Puerto Rico Trench, the ocean reaches a depth of 27,493 feet, or 8,300 meters. 380 meters. So it does say here, is the Bermuda Triangle dangerous? Not anymore. Apparently, not anymore, according to today's modern ships and airplanes and weather forecasting systems. Um, plus like the U.S. Navy, U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and other credible institutions maintains there are no supernatural forces at work, and the area is highly traveled and safe. Um, all right, so we'll get into the some of the stories now and potentially some of the science behind it. So, ships lost at sea or hauntingly abandoned for no apparently reason, planes disappearing without distress signals over the past several centuries. More than 50 ships and 20 planes have said to have disappeared in the area now referred to as the Bermuda Triangle. In more recent history, two incidents stand out. In 1918, the USS Cyclops, a Navy supply ship with 306 crew members on board, disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. No explanation was given and no wreckage has been found. In 1945, a group of five torpedo bombers known as Flight 19 took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a training flight and never returned. Again, no explanation was given and no wreckage was found. The only clue was intercepted radio message indicating that the compasses were malfunctioning, which is kind of weird that a whole flight crew's compasses would all malfunction at the same time unless something was acting upon said compasses. Explanations over the years have included whether roadways or in the best-selling book, The Bermuda Triangle from 1974, um, that the fabled lost island of Atlantis was to blame. Like personally, I thought they're saying the Atlantis Islands were out near the Azores, or they're technically the Eye of Rishat structure in Africa. But anyway, um, it does say in reality it's most likely environmental factors a cause of the disappearances. Reefs and shallow waters were treacherous for ship navigation before modern technology. Bermuda's 300 plus shipwrecks are largely attributed to run ins with the island's extensive reef system, the northernmost coral reefs of the Atlantic, and also weather around the Gulf Stream, along with tropical storms and hurricanes, can cause intense conditions, which the instruments of the time could not forecast, which is fair. Like, it's just like there's apparently a rock off the more off the top of near the Whitsundays that keeps moving, and apparently ships keep hitting it, which amuses the frick out of me for that one. Um, as for the compasses going haywire, the NOAA does acknowledge there is evidence that the Bermuda Triangle is a place where magnetic compasses sometimes point towards true north as opposed to magnetic north, which is, I think, in the northern hemisphere, it would only be a few degrees difference. Um, Most importantly, however, NOAA assures that there is no evidence that mysterious disappearances occur with any greater frequency in the Bermuda Triangle than in any other large, well traveled area of the ocean. Um, so, this is just apparently there are things you can go and see and do in um, to experience the Bermuda Triangle. Um, Alboy's Point, where you can go and take photographs with like a sign saying, you know, you visited the triangle. There's apparently an underwater exploration institute you can go and have fun with. Of course, the National Museum of Bermuda, um, and you can go diving on some of the shipwrecks. Which, if you ever get the chance of doing it, I would highly recommend. It is very interesting thing to do. I have done it with one of the shipwrecks of Tangalooma, which is the island directly across the bay from me. There's also a lighthouse out there. Um, okay, that's it for this particular article. Just give me 2 seconds. Oh, that was actually useless. So it says scientists have apparently now. This is one of the things I did come across in my research, that scientists have now claimed to have solved the mystery of the deadly Bermuda Triangle. British scientists believe that 30-meter rogue waves could be the reason why so many boats have been sunk in the mysterious Bermuda Triangle. The infamous body of water in the western part of the northern Atlantic Ocean stretches over an approximately 700,000 square kilometers between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. Also known as the Devil's Triangle, the area features multiple shipping lanes and has claimed more than 1,000 lives over the past 100 years. But experts at the University of Southampton in the United Kingdom believe the mystery can be explained by natural phenomena as rogue waves, which is kind of bizarre because I've heard it's also methane gas bubbles could be causing a lot of the ships and air turbulence because methane's lighter than air. Ships will go straight over a pocket of it and sink into the methane pocket and disappear that way. So I don't know why they're just blaming rogue waves. Appearing on the documentary The Triangle Enigma, the scientists used indoor simulators to recreate the monster wave surges. Rogue waves, which only last for a few minutes, were first observed by satellites up the coast of South Africa in 1997. Some have measured 30 meters high. Don't ask me how many feet that is, because I don't know. There is no comparison here. The research team built a model of the USS Cyclops, the huge vessel which went missing in the triangle in 1918, claiming 300 lives. And because of its sheer size and flat base, it did not take long before the model of the ship was overcome with water during the simulation. Dr. Simon Boxall, an ocean and earth scientist, said the infamous area in the Atlantic could see three massive storms come together from different directions, creating the perfect condition for a rogue wave. He believes a surge in water could snap a boat just as a cyclops in two. There are storms in the south north which come together, and if there are additional ones in Florida, it can potentially deadly formation of rogue waves. And it says the bigger the boat gets, the more damage that can be done. I think they also proved with some of that the when the rogue waves go over the boats, the and if it goes into the ballast holds, they worked this out with the Edmund Fitzgerald, that the pressure inside of the ballast tanks, because of the water coming in and with the air having no way to escape, it's effectively having like tons of dynamite stashed in there all going off at once, which would literally vaporize like a hole in the side of the ship, thus causing more sinkages. Um, the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle might finally be explained with the rogue wave, but myths surrounding the area are likely to last forever. So the abnormalities were first noted in 1950 by Edward Jones, writing for the Miami Herald, before it gained notoriety in 1952 when George Sand wrote in the Fate magazine about certain incidents that had taken place in the region. One of the more famous examples was Flight 19, the training flight of five torpedo bomber planes, and all five aircraft vanished during a training session in 1945. After this, many disappearances of planes and ships were reported, and the mystery continued. And ever since, the researchers and scientists have come up with an array of theories to explain the mystery disappearances. One of them is the methane gas theory, which is blamed trapped gas under the seafloor for scores of planes and ship disappearances. This, the claim went, could erupt, lower the water density, causing the ship to sink like a rock. Even planes flying over it could catch fire and get completely destroyed, the researchers said. Another theory related to the electronic fog, the name coined for what is essentially a storm. The electronic fog would appear from nowhere, engulf a plane or ship, and causing its instruments to malfunction, so the ship or aircraft would vanish with no trace. A third theory involves hexagonal cloud and air bombs. Meteorologists discovered strange hexagonal clouds capable of blasting winds to the ocean below at huge speeds. These windstorms on the ocean were said to create waves as high as 14 meters, ravaging ships and planes caught within it. Legendary Australian scientist Dr. Carl Krishnecki. Um, yes, I have actually met the guy, shaked his hand before. He has several books out. If you guys want to know the ins and outs of various things, I would suggest reading up on him. He's got a lot of very weird and wonderful topics that he covers. Also blamed large waves for the apparent disappearance of Flight 19, which believed to have crashed into the Bermuda Triangle due to human error. Last year, a plane carrying four people, including a mother and her two children, went missing in the infamous triangle. Uh, Jennifer Blumen and her sons, aged 3 and 4, and her pilot boyfriend, Nathan Ulrich, had just spent Mother's Day in Puerto Rico and flying to Florida when the twin prop MU-2B airplane vanished off the radar about 59 kilometers east of Eureka in the Bahamas. Communication was lost at 24,000 feet or 7.3 Ks with a speed of about 555 kilometers, the officials said. The search was eventually called off and no bodies were found. Um, yeah, I didn't hear about that one, but I know there are also reports of time slips and time tunnels being formed in the Bermuda Triangle. It has been said that planes will enter a cloud bank, and something will happen in that cloud bank, and when they come out of it, things are different. Um, if I haven't been able to find those particular cases, if I can, I will report on them, but I haven't been able to find those yet. Hold on, just bear with me. I just got to find the other articles that I found. Okay, um, so this is the other article I found. It's six prevailing Bermuda Triangle theories. So um, we'll start with the more interesting one, a time vortex, which is something I just mentioned. It says that Albert Einstein postulated that the curvature of space would cause even light to bend through it. Some theories believe that time, as a force of nature, can also get warped based on your location. The Bermuda Triangle is one location on Earth where the fabric of time is so thin that travelers can slip through it and emerge on the other side of a completely different time. This theory was solidified in 1970 when Floridian pilot Brew Gerner Jr. and his father and his friend Chuck Lafayette were flying towards Bimini Island in the Bahamas and noticed a strange elliptical cloud, which he later called electronic fog, hovering about 500 feet above the ocean. So this is an excerpt from the story. Upon entering the cloud, we witnessed an uncanny spectacle. It became dark and black, without rain. The visibility was about 4 or 5 miles. There are no lightning bolts, only extraordinary bright white flashes that would illuminate the entire surrounding area. The deeper we penetrated, the more intense the flashes became. So we made a 135-degree turn to the left and headed due south out of the cloud. The remarkable thing is that we did not come out of the storm 90 miles away from Miami as we should have. We had instead traveled through 100 miles of space in 30 minutes of time in a little more than 3 minutes. Um, yeah, so there's a bit of a thing here saying no theory has negated what Bruce saw, but a fascinating detail analyzes and explains the science behind the flight. The report attributes his experiences due to sunspot number of 84. Apparently, the scientists tracked the solar cycles by counting sunspots, and a large solar wind of 706 kilometers a second, which created a disturbance of the magnetic sphere and the energy flux transfer. For yeah, energy flux transfer. Like for some weird reason, I want to keep saying that same thing that's in the Back to the Future thing in the car. Um, the capacitor. There we go. This occurs when the magnetic portal opens in the Earth's magnetic sphere, through which high energy particles flow from the sun directly into the atmosphere. This caused not only his compass to go haywire, but it can also account for the warping of the fabric of space you witnessed. I wonder if that would have been what would have happened to Flight 19 for all of the compasses to go haywire at once. Now we get to everyone's favorite conspiracy theory about it. It was the aliens. The existence of the mysterious third dimension created by unknown beings has been speculated by some Bermuda Triangle theories. So the UFO enthusiasts argue that the triangle is a stargate that extraterrestrials use for intergalactic travel. Many believe that in 1945, Flight 19 may have been swept into this UFO portal. The weather that day was clear, i.e., potentially no severe weather, and the flight was supervised by an experienced pilot, Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor. All of a sudden, Taylor made a radio call saying, "We are entering white water. Nothing seems right. We don't know where we are. The water is green, not white." It is also said that the Navy Board of Inquiry stated that the planes flew off to Mars. I would love to get my hands on that document because that would be very interesting to see. Normally, they're very strict with what they put in documents, so that would be like highly unbelievable to see in a military document. So they're saying why this theory doesn't add up is Lieutenant Taylor, who was flying the plane, was unfamiliar with the area and was actually 50 kilometers off course. He had a history of getting lost, allegedly having done so 3 times during World War II and being forced to ditch his plane twice into the water. Uh, that that's absolutely amazing. Like if they'd known he's known for getting lost, why would he be in charge of a training flight? That just doesn't make sense. It's stupidity all around. Um, so I got to laugh at this one. So number three for in the theories is it's apparently a highway to hell. Some Christians consider the Bermuda Triangle as the gateway to hell, hence the name the Devil's Triangle. And the theory for why that doesn't add up just says we're not going to touch this one. Um, the fourth theory is it's the lost city of Atlantis. Some believe that the mythical lost continent of Atlantis once lay deep beneath the Bermuda Triangle. An American psychic named Edgar Casey claimed to be able to channel answers to questions about Atlantis and documented many readings about the lost city between 1924 and 1944. He said the Bahamas banks were the last part of Atlantis to sink. In one of his transcendental, there we go, got the word right, readings, he also mentioned an island, Bimini. Here lay a trail of energy crystals once used to fuel the city. These electromagnetic forces were said to be the cause of interference with the airplane ships and systems causing them to vanish. In 1968, the scuba diver Manson Valentine, a proponent of the Atlantis theory, discovered a series of laid stones at the bottom of the ocean that appeared to form a road, thus proving the existence of Atlantis. If only he could have taken a picture. Okay, so from what I remember from Atlantis, even Graham Hancock and all that have gone there and swum along the road. They said it could potentially be man-made, and that there is that Millennium Falcon style object that is like in Bimini itself that apparently does cause a lot of electromagnetic interference with equipment in the area. Um, but apparently that doesn't extend to the surface. It only extends around the whatever that particular rock formation is. Um, and as I
I
said,
thought Atlantis was underwater.
it it technically is. And I was just about to say, there are better theories out there. Randall Carlson, if you watch his channel, he said it's most likely in the Azores. Yes, the Richat structure does have the three concentrated rings. It does match some of Plato's writings, having the mountains of Atlas around it and all that kind of stuff. But it's very, very interesting. It's sort of like you wouldn't know unless the Earth goes back. Well, we are still technically in an ice age. Um, if the ice was to come back and the seas were to dry up again, we would rediscover things like Doggerland and all that kind of stuff, like the stuff that got swallowed by the water as the water rose. It'd be very interesting to see how far that would go. Um, so yeah, the why this theory doesn't add up is um, Valentine witnessed an underwater rock formation near North Bimini Island in the Bahamas called the Bimini Road. The submerged rock foundation formation known as the Bimini Road is, in the Bahamas, is considered part of the triangle by some definitions. However, geologists consider this to be of natural origins. Number five, the number five on the list of theories is ocean flatulence. I kid you not. Long ago, a freighter ship carrying thousands of barrels of beans and lentils spilled deep into the ocean floor of the Bermuda Triangle, causing the area to have a permanent case of gas, every so often unleashing its smelly odors into the unfortunate ships and airplanes that come near it. Sorry, I can't take that seriously. However, it has been proven that there are pockets of methane gas, known as methane gas hydrates, beneath the ocean floor that could erupt if too much internal pressure or the event of an underwater landslide or seismic wave. Some theories have suggested that these pockets of trapped methane gas exist deep beneath the surface of the Bermuda Triangle. Periodic methane gas eruptions have caused this area to expel great quantities of trapped methane, causing ships to lose their buoyancy and sink. So, if they know it's a proven hypothesis, then that's most likely going to be, Occam's razor.
I believe that theory. That is a very plausible theory. I will tell you, I have lived by a volcano, like a literal volcano. And the lake surrounding it has um, vents that produce methane gas. And there's areas of the lake that you are not advised to go to. So I totally believe that theory, but I'm not sure if I believe that. I guess it would apply to an ocean as well, but then all of these triangles would have to be what on the ring of fire for that to be true.
No.
No?
Yeah, as I said, that dragon one is supposed to be on the opposite side of the world to the Bermuda Triangle, which makes it interesting, but I don't think that's actually valid. But um it says
Then
why
where's
this
that?
theory does. Yeah. So it says why this doesn't add up. The scientists of the United States Geological Survey have found large stores of underwater hydrates worldwide. However, no large release of gas hydrates are believed to have occurred in the Bermuda Triangle for the past 1500 years. But here's the thing, unless they've got sensors on them, how the frig do they know? It That doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe there are sensors and we just don't know about it.
Like I know they were mapping it. They were using lidar to map the whole of the, like, as much of it as they could to try and figure it out and to find the missing planes, because I know with that flight 19 there were other planes that went out searching for them that also disappeared. One of them in particular was known for
Oh,
blowing up mid flight as well. So they think that one, yeah, just had a run of bad luck and blew up. Um, so it says
okay.
the final one is a comet. The Bermuda Triangle region is one of the two places on Earth, the other being the Devil's Sea off the coast of Japan, which I will get into that next, um, where true north and magnetic north line up, which could result in questionable compass readings. Well, I did say it was only a couple of degrees off. Some theories believe that 11,000 years ago, a comet crashed to Earth and landed on the ocean floor of the Bermuda Triangle. Believing that this comet may have had strange electromagnetic properties, it could disrupt compass and other navigational tools. Um, it says why the theory doesn't add up is the compasses have natural magnetic variations in relations to the magnetic poles, a fact that this navigators have known this for centuries. The magnetic north and geographic north are exactly the same for a small number of places on Earth. For example, as of 2000 in the United States, this is true only for those places on a line running from Wisconsin to the Gulf of Mexico. However, the public may not be informed and think there is something mysterious as the compass changing across an area as large as triangle, which it naturally will. The other theories for disappearance in the Bermuda Triangle have included pirates, government testing, say, and the most likely explanation are human error and not knowing how to stay safe, poor weather conditions, unfit vehicle operating condition. But who doesn't love a good theory? Now, I have also heard that apparently somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle, this is one of those really out there theories, that there are underwater bases there, and occasionally they will raid ships for stuff. They have their own little, scuba men that'll come up and take over a ship and then sink it, take what they need. Uh, Where is so? So all I've done so far is cover the Bermuda Triangle. I've only covered some of the issues with the triangle, some of the theories. Now, I did say to you there were so what they think that the triangles are vortexes, and um, there's different places around the world that have these vortexes. Um, which goes along the lines. I'm just trying to think how. Think of it as the vortexes are like energy. Either can be good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I'd say it also goes along the lines of, if you look into like ley lines and all that kind of stuff around the world. Um, that picture that I sent you actually shows of certain um, vortexes around the world. I'll see if I can bring up the thing for it. No. It does say ley lines, sound sciencey. Let me think. It's something to do with the rocks, basically. So hold on. So let's go down to. So I will go down to the dragons triangle, or in the Devil Sea, which is next. That is the one that is, as I said, is apparently meant to be the on the opposite side of the planet as the Bermuda Triangle, doing the same sort of crap. Um, it is in the Pacific region off Japan's coast, often likened due to reported disappearance of ships and planes. Located between Japan, Taiwan, and Guam. This area is known for volatile, unpredictable weather, underwater volcano activity, and highly maritime traffic. Um, it is also sometimes dubbed as the Formosa Triangle. Uh, the most famous of the ships to have gone disappearing in that from the 1950s onwards, which was when roughly the Bermuda Triangle was coined and thingo, was the KO Maru number 5, which vanished in 1952 while investigating the area. Um, so it does say that contrary to myths of sea monsters or dragons, researchers attribute these dangers to natural causes like volcanic underwater activity. Um, so that would be, as you said, on the Ring of Fire, I do believe. Um, Underwater volcanoes and seismic activity can create sudden and dangerous ocean changes. Um, Magnetic anomalies. This region is known for magnetic disturbances that can interfere with navigational instruments. The weather patterns, like Bermuda Triangle, are rapid, unpredictable, and they shift in that part of Pacific. But it's also blamed on high volume of traffic with dangerous, unpredictable elements. But I wish there was more information on this. Apparently, there is an ancient legend that a giant dragon living beneath the sea would pull ships down, causing whirlpools and storms. There is no more information on that, unfortunately. Um, so they're the two big sea ones that. Oh wait, there's also the Red Sea has one as well. Uh, so apparently there's a the Red Triangle is colloquially named for the rough triangle-shaped region off the coast of Northern California, extending from Bodega Bay, north of San Fran, out slightly beyond the Farallon Islands, and down to the Big Sur region south of Monterey. Unfortunately, I don't have much more information on that, sadly. Uh, do you have anything to add temporarily while I bring up the next slide, Emmy?
Sorry, I'm here. I had to kick my dog out.
Hey, don't kick the dog. That's unfair to the dog.
Well, you know what I mean. Not kick her. Like, oh my god, I had to like take her out of my room.
Hmm.
But anyways, I wanted to know what is your personal thoughts.
Um, I believe there are places on the planet where things can and will go wrong that appear more heavily than, as I said, like those areas in particular are very highly trafficked, and if you add up the statistics of ships disappearing throughout the world, or mysterious things happening to the ships regardless, it's no greater statistical anomaly than anywhere else in the world, realistically. As I said, when you were off doing the other stuff, we have an island that Lord Howe Island, I think it is, that's at the top of the Great Barrier Reef, that ships do keep hitting because apparently it's known to move around. Even though it doesn't, it that people are just idiots. Yeah, I think a lot of it is probably human error, but there is probably um, something to do with the weather, like rogue waves, and I reckon there is probably a possibility that methane gas rising to the surface could theoretically drop a ship. Um, it would be a hell of a coincidence, as I said, even if some methane rises into the air, it can stall a plane out, or if there's a loose spark or something, boom, plane explodes. So
That's true.
it's, yeah, very, very, very interesting. Like, but I just hope that while they're mapping, the Bermuda Triangle, they are marking these hydro vents, well, methane vents, sorry, and putting monitoring stations near them so we can keep an eye on that kind of thing. So if something similar to what they're saying could potentially happen, we can record it and go, hey, look, we've kind of got more conclusive proof. Now we've got the science to do it, so why the hell not?
Do you think that there's a religious component because it's a triangle and a triangle has three sides?
No, I think this is just one of those parallels situations for that.
Fair. I don't know. I think maybe, yeah, maybe it's just a cross of dimensions and it's literally like something goes through a line and then it doesn't come out the other side, like kind of
Mm.
like have you seen that Scarlett Johansson video where the girl passes behind her but you don't see her again? She just like disappears into thin air behind Scarlett
That,
Johansson.
that I have seen that, and it's nothing more than an optical illusion.
Well, it's fair. That's fair. But I'm like, that's how I see the parallel triangle. Like it's just like some dimension, and all of a sudden it's invisible and opens up, and there goes your ship or your airplane.
Yeah, like I do love the time slip theory as well, just because that Charles Brune person and the Charles Lafayette person are not the only people to experience that. There have been other recorded cases of that throughout history, but not just in the Bermuda Triangle. And just recently, there was a thing like to do with the waves. It showed four waves coming together, and just how violent that was. It was like it's like someone dropped a whole stack of TNT and blew that up and created like a mushroom effect. And you're like, if that was only just like coming into a small area, and say there was a ship there, that could do a ton of damage to a ship.
Yeah, true, true. But you would have wreckage of something
Um,
eventually, right?
maybe, but then again, look at things like MH370. That apparently went down in the water. They've only found one of the what do they call it? The ailerons, the thing that controls the that sits on the back of the wing that controls the pitch and stuff.
Uh-huh.
They found that in like one other item, but they haven't really found the rest of it. So, hmm. Lucy, I'm full of theories, by the way. Now, the
You're our resident expert on the paranormal.
not really. I'm just well read. That's all. Um, now, where as I said, those two are the biggest ones at sea. Now there are in fact ones on land as well, which is um, even better because there's more evidence of the stuff happening.
Oh,
Um,
let's hear about it. Oh, and for the record, I'm doing mom stuff and trying to cook a roast, and I'm pretty sure I messed up on it. But how do you know when it's like done? If it's like pork.
Stick a knife in it. If it comes out with blood, it still needs to cook. If it comes out with clear liquid, then you're fine.
Okay, so if I just stick it in the oven and like for like hours on like 265, is that gonna like hurt it?
I normally do about 200 and something, 220 maximum, um, per kilogram. An hour per kilogram.
No, Khaleesi, I don't have a meat thermometer. I'm so
I do.
very undomesticated. I'm not even sure that we're gonna be able to eat this, but I'm trying.
Did you make sure you score the skin of the pork and rub it down with vinegar, and then you put salt over it, and then you can get the crispier skin.
Definitely did none of that.
Well, then you're
I
not going to
took
get
it.
then you're
I
not going to get crackly skin. So yeah.
It has to be. I'm so confused. I threw it in a pan. I put it with like broth and then like carrots and celery and potatoes, and like the carrots and celery and potatoes, that's all cooked now. But it's been in the oven for like 4 or 5 hours.
Well, it should be cooked.
So I just want to make
If
sure that like I really should
if
have a thermometer.
if worst comes to worst, just freaking like as I said, stick a knife in it. If it bleeds, you know it's not cooked. If it comes out clear, you know it's cooked. Or just freaking open it, and you can always chuck it back in you can always chuck it back in the oven. That's fine. Just like run a knife through it. That's the other way. I check when I before I had a meat thermometer.
Okay, I'll be right back. Oh, and for the land ones, did you find anything about the Massachusetts Triangle?
I do believe I might have. Wait, no, I've got Michigan, Bridgewater, um, Bennington, Alaska. I will have to. I will leave that one for you to bring up then.
I think it's the Massachusetts one. I think it might be Bridgewater. I'll look it up,
Okay.
but I'll be right back.
She's only cooking because I went and cooked that beef rendang last night, and like, yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. Um, apparently there's a black pyramid in the Alaska one. I will have to look that up. Okay, nope, nothing on that one. So I will go down to where did I put the Bridgewater Triangle? Here we go. Yeah, so the Bridgewater Triangle is in Massachusetts. It's about 200 square miles. or 520 kilometers squared within the southeastern Massachusetts in the United States, claimed to be a site of alleged paranormal phenomena, ranging from UFO to poltergeist and other spectral phenomena, various Bigfoot-like sightings, giant snakes, and thunderbirds. The term was coined by New England-based cryptozoologist Loren Coleman. So, uh, by the look of it, it goes from Rebooth, Freetown, up to Abington, roughly. Ooh, apparently there's a rock there called Profile Rock. So, it does say here, there's historic places and landmarks. Freetown Fall River State Forest apparently has reportedly been the site of various cult activity, including animal sacrifice, ritualistic murders committed by admitted Satanists, as well as a number of gangland murders and number of suicides. I wonder if that's the same with near the Appalachian. There's a circle where nothing grows, and they think it's because the devil dances there. Um, so Profile Rock, this supposed site where I'm going to butcher this, and I do apologize. Wampanoag historical figure Anawan received the lost wampum pelt from Philip. Legend has it's the ghost of a man can be seen sitting on the rock with his legs crossed or with his outstretched arms located within the Freetown Fall River State Forest. Uh, Solitude Stone, an inscribed stone located near the forest street in West Bridgewater, also was found near the missing person's body, known as Suicide Stone. The rock was found within with the inscription, "All ye who in future days walk by Nonketesset stream, love not him who hummed his lay cheerful to the parting beam, but to the beauty that he wooed." If anyone's got any idea what the hell that means, let me know. Apparently, the Bridgewater State University has several buildings and rooms on campus that are alleged to be haunted by ghosts and other paranormal activity. The Taunton State Hospital. Some visitors have claimed that various strange paranormal experiences in the hospital include being touched and pulled in certain areas of the hospital. It is also claimed that the hospital was used by satanic cults during the 1960s and 70s. And if I remember correctly, they've got a whole heap of dissected human parts in one of their rooms. Apparently, the Hornbein School, which is a one-room schoolhouse which was built in the 1840s and remained in active use up until 1937. Damn, that lived a good life. The building is allegedly haunted by its former inhabitants. That would be the students and teachers, I would assume. Hockomock Swamp, a large wetland that is much part of the northern part of the southeastern Massachusetts, is considered the largest freshwater swamp in the state. It served as a major part of King Philip's War as a strategic base of operations for Metacomet, also known as King Philip, to launch assaults upon nearby English settlements. Hockomock is the Algonquin term meaning the place where spirits dwell. Hockomock is also the native burial ground. Many stories and legends are associated with the swamp. Due to this, even in modern times, it is considered to be a place of mystery and fear. So, as far as the paranormal claims are concerned, it's unidentified flying objects, often in the forms of bright balls of light of large, unusual spacecraft. It also has unnatural animal sightings ranging from unusual reports of animals that are not found within the area, such as panthers or bears, and more central claims of giant snakes and enormous vicious dogs. Like, it's not that unusual for the occasional animal to wander outside of its range. I'm just not sure how far out of its range that would be for panthers and bears, though. Um, Paranormal humanoids include sightings of Bigfoot, ghosts, poltergeists, and shadow people. I don't think we've touched on shadow people yet. So, thunderbird sightings are giant birds or pterodactyl like flying creatures with wingspans up to 12 feet are often claimed to have been seen within the Hockomock Swamp in the neighbouring Taunton and Easton, including a report by the Norton Police Sergeant Thomas Downey. So it says with the cult activity, it's lots of animal mutilations, particularly in Freetown and Fall River. Uh, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it says two specific incidents in 1998 were reported. One in which a single adult cow was found butchered in the woods, and the other in which a group of cows were discovered in a clearing, um, grotesquely mutilated as if part of a ritual sacrifice. Um, Apparently, it's also got curses on it too. According to one tale, Native Americans had cursed the swamp centuries ago because of a conflict with colonial settlers. A revered object of the Wampanoag people, a belt known as the Wampum Belt, was lost during King Philip's War. Legends say that the area owes its paranormal unrest to the fact that this belt was lost from the native people. Pukwudgie. Ooh, I've actually heard the term Pukwudgie before. Interesting. It's also an Australian thing too, if I remember correctly. A creature from the Algonquin folklore. The local Wampanoag people consider these little people to be dangerous tricksters. They they have been especially associated with the Brewtown State Forest and also the Bridgewater Triangle. Okay, just let me bring that back up. Nobody needs to take advantage of my cooking lessons, Khaleesi. Uh, okay, so that was the Massachusetts one. That's right. Emmy can go back and listen to her own stream that she missed out on.
I plan to.
Mm. Um, apparently at the Bridgewater Triangle, there's also a rock called the Dighton Rock, an archaeological mystery with ambiguous petroglyphs.
Ooh.
But I love how it says on the bottom, the area also includes Taunton, Brockton, Mansfield, often described as the paranormal Disney World or a window area to other realities.
Ooh, I like other realities.
Okay, so the next one I'm going to bring up is Lake Michigan Triangle.
Ew,
So
I
the lake,
haven't heard about that one.
there's a lot of things you haven't heard about. Just prepare to get your mind blown, as per usual.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I can't do it with cocaine because I don't have any. Sorry.
No comment and no comment.
The Lake Michigan Triangle is supposed to be a mysterious region in the northern part of Lake Michigan, bounded by Ludington, Benton Harbor, Michigan, uh, Manitowoc, and Wisconsin. It is also known for a high concentration of unexplained shipwrecks, vanishing vessels, airplane disappearance, alleged UFO USO sightings. Um, some of the most famous disappearances are the Legorifin in 1679, The first major mysterious event involving French sailing ships that vanished. Maybe it just put up a white flag and disappeared. The Rosabelle. I'm surprised you haven't commented on that one, Emmy.
You know what I'm thinking right now?
Yeah.
Michigan, if they have a triangle, there's Bigfoot there.
Yeah, well, there's apparently Bigfoot at that other one too, that one that I was just talking about. Um,
So is there a triangle in California?
not that I'm aware of, not that I've seen so far. There probably is, but so the next one, you've got Thomas Hume, 1891, a schooner that disappeared with its crew. The Rosabelle in 1921, a ship bound capsized with 11 people missing. And you've also got Northwest Airlines Flight 2501 from 1950, a passenger plane with 58 people aboard that disappeared and the wreckage has never been found. Um, so, theories, explanations for the phenomena range from the volatile, unpredictable weather and magnetic anomalies that cause compass to uh, malfunction to the more fantastic theory of underwater alien bases. There is also a underwater Stonehenge that was found in 2007. Sonar uncovered a line of stones in a circle with carvings resembling a mastodon, leading to speculations about, but no proof of an ancient underwater. Ugh. Come on, seriously, go back to when the freaking ice was covering half the bloody planet, and all these areas were not covered underwater, and it's not going to be an underwater bloody civilization. No, isn't that like Lake Mead? Like now that it's draining, they're finding all sorts of things. They're even finding carvings on rocks that were done by the Native Americans too. So
You have a point there.
I mean, seriously, and as I pointed out, like we've got known places like Doggerland, which is off the coast of England and Europe, I think, um, that people once lived on and used as human agricultural, but now it's completely under a sea because the water melted. It's like not that big of a deal, you know.
True.
Okay, so the next one is going to be the Alaska Triangle. Um, so I have heard of some things with it, but I'm trying to find if there's something about electromagnetic fields being thing. But apparently, they're saying because of the amount of people that go missing in Alaska, they're blaming that on some mysterious triangle, which unfortunately, Alaska does have a lot of people that go missing. Um, Apparently, about 20,000 people have gone missing from Alaska since the 1970s.
Are you serious? That's a lot
Mm,
of people. Sorry.
yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. So here we go. The mystery. This is from Reddit from Unsolved Mysteries. Most people in the US are familiar with the Bermuda Triangle, but there's another triangle. It's just as, or maybe even more mysterious. It's large as well as being located in a very rugged and unforgiving terrain. The Alaskan Triangle, which has claimed 16,000 people, some websites claim more since 1988. So that 20,000 figure would be pretty spot on then. The Alaskan Triangle encompasses a very large part of the state. It goes to the southeast near Juneau, north of the Barrow Mountains, and Anchorage lies near the middle. Most of the land within the triangle is unforgiving to say the least. Unexplored areas, heavy forestry, rocky crags are all part of a natural landscape, not to mention the various parts of the barren tundra. A place where survival would be against the odds. And plus, you've also got the bears and all, like the polar bears and all that kind of shit too. Um, like the Bermuda Triangle, the Alaskan Triangle has claimed its share of planes. One of the most notable was in 1972. a Cessna 310 carrying none other than two prominent politicians, House Majority Leader Hale Boggs and Nick Begich, along with, along with aide Russell Brown and Bush pilot Don Johns, vanished in the region while on their way from Anchorage to Juneau. An exhaustive 39-day search involving 400 aircraft and dozens of boats turned up no sign of the men or plane. The men were eventually declared dead. In 1990, a man named Jeff Roth decided to fly his Cessna 340 to Yakutat. He had four passengers on board with him. Two of them were his brothers, Scott and Kent. After takeoff, his last transmission was that he was at 12,000 feet heading towards Anchorage. That was the last communication. Jeff's wife listened to the FAA tapes and thought she heard her husband say something about 6,000 feet and icing conditions. However, FBI analysis of the tapes failed to confirm that information. Um, the man and the pilot were never found. So, how I thought only the planes usually record their what gets said like with flights. I didn't realize the FAA actually records it as well on their end. Because that's one thing you never hear about in the TV shows and all that kind of thing. It's always just the plane that records everything, and it's not the other end that does it.
Oh yeah, because the FAA can fine you for saying something over the radio.
Mm.
Yeah.
In August 2010, Branch River Air Service pilot Marco Aledo picked up three young Park Service employees, um, brothers Neil and Seth Spradlin and Mason McLeod. Aledo was flying his 1967 de Havilland Beaver, a plane used as a workhorse in Alaska's charter industry. I think it was a de Havilland that was the ones that were following the Flight 19 that disappeared, that blew up. Um, the plane was headed to the park headquarters in King Salmon. The plane and men aboard never made it. The National Park Service Rangers knew the exact flight path a letter should have been following and conducted an extensive search costing close to $1 million. No sight of the men or the plane was found. So hold on. Apparently, the plane was found in 2010. Let me just bring that article up quickly. So, for some reason, this was reported in Jacksonville in the Florida Times. Um, yeah, so rescue crews in Alaska braved bad weather late Wednesday trying to reach the wreckage of a seaplane that was carrying a young national park ranger from Jacksonville. He disappeared more than 5 weeks ago. There was no evidence of survivors, a park service spokesman said. The helicopter pilot on the state's southwest coast uh, found parts of the plane that was carrying Mason McLeod. Um, yeah, let me see. Yeah, so they found like the plane's tail and other debris, but um, yeah, and not all of it was there, so they still haven't found the bodies by the look of it. Can we go back to the article? Thank you. Besides planes, the missing include hikers, tourists, and Alaskan residents. It's easy to explain that one could get lost and quickly succumb to the elements. But what is a bit mind boggling here are the numbers. Statistically, Alaska has a higher missing person percentage than any other state. This is in part due to the daunting wilderness weather and sheer size of the state itself. Rescue missions can be dangerous, and the weather can dictate when a search and rescue teams can conduct missions. To say it's difficult would be a drastic understatement. This could very well be why planes and missing persons have not been found. Um, so it said that one of the biggest theories is about an energy vortex. Alaska also has magnetic anomalies which can cause compasses to be off by at least 30 degrees. And some natives believe there are spirits that don't want the land spoiled by man. It could just boil down to the fact that this rugged, tough, relative unexplored land with harsh winter conditions. Um, you know, he does say what bothers him is the exhaustive search. You know, with the exhaustive search, the hail for hail bogs and all that. Yeah, it's the fact that they found nothing. Yeah, that's all that basically is for that.
I think it's more likely like the elements in the wilderness got a lot of people.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
statistically, the elements are kind of stacked against you.
Well, someone's just made someone by the name of Cure just made a very valid point with the Alaskan wilderness. One would like to think. One thing I'd like to think about when missing airplanes is how much the terrain changes without us realizing it. The 1947 Stardust crash is a really good example of this. The plane that crashed into a mountain, triggering an avalanche which immediately buried the wreckage, and it wasn't found for another 50 years. Like, this could be the same for Alaska, where where conditions are such things that can be buried or lost and you wouldn't know. But that Stardust one still bugs the crap out of me. I would love to know what the word that they repeated 3 times meant.
Well, that's a fascinating story.
Hmm.
Khaleesi says, I feel like everything wants to eat you.
Eh, it's not that bad.
Oh, so where is Harp in Alaska or is Harp somewhere else?
Are
In,
you talking about the government agency HARP, or are you
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
no idea?
Oh, okay. Because
Ooh.
I was wondering maybe there's a connection between Harp and the triangles.
Okay, so apparently, there is. I will have to look up wild vortices in a minute. Apparently, there's a few more. You've got the Bass Strait Triangle. Let's bring that one up. So, Bass Strait, as you know, is the water between um, southern Australia and Tasmania. Um, so, apparently, we have a triangle down there, but it's kind of weird. So, it says that there are several incidents, the biggest being the Frederick Valentic. I gotta make sure I say that one right. With his thing, but I'll get to that in a minute. So, Bass Strait was discovered following the wreck of the ship Sydney Cove on the Fornex Group in 1797. One of the vessels engaged in the salvage operation, the sloop Eliza, went missing on her return voyage to Sydney. Hundreds of vessels, from the small yachts and fishing craft up to the size of bulk carriers, have come to grief in Bass Strait since the time through hitting reefs, running around on the coastline, or in river bars while entering port, or foundering due to the stress of the weather, some dozens being lost without a trace. As I said, we've got um, a very famous boat race here in Australia that goes from Sydney to Hobart every year. And people have come to grief, a lot of grief with that particular race. Um, Actually, north south and vice versa crossing of the Bass Strait seldom occurred until Melbourne was established in 1835. From 1838 to 1840, at least 7 vessels were lost, with all hands on the way to or from the new settlement, wreckage from only 3 being identified. Rumours that some of these vessels had fallen victim to wreckers appear baseless. The main cause has probably been bad weather and poor charts, which wouldn't surprise me, even though we're a country of criminals anyway. In 1858, the British warship, the HMS Staffo, disappeared with well over 100 lives being lost and absolutely no positively identifiable wreckage located. In 1901, the SS Federal disappeared carrying coal from New South Wales with 31 crew. Her wreck was not located until 2019, so not that long ago. In 1906, the Ferdinand Fischer, a German cargo ship, disappeared. Uh, the SS Amalia J, a schooner, disappeared on 10th of September 1920. The HMS Swordman was commissioned to search for the ship while searching the Bass Strait. A second ship, the Barentine SS Southern Cross, disappeared. A military aircode DH 9A engaged the search would also disappear. Holy crap, I'd never actually realised there was so much that disappeared down there. The wreckage of the SS Southern Cross was found on King Island. Um, King Island makes the best cheeses and stuff. Like throughout the world. I don't care. Like they're the best cheeses. The SS Amelia J was never discovered. Neither was the Airco DH9A. The Haviland Express, Miss Hobart, went missing soon after entering service in 1934, with only a small amount of wreckage being found on the Victorian coast. In 1935, Loyena, a Holman airliner, crashed into the sea near Flinders Island with 3 crew and 2 passengers lost. No bodies were found. Um, the cause of both accidents was probably a combination of human error with poor design of the aircraft. During World War II, several aircraft, mostly the Royal Australian Air Force Bristol Beaufort bombers, were lost during exercises in the Bass Strait while training flights out of air bases, mainly the RAF-based East Sale in Victoria. These accidents were probably caused by inexperienced crew crashing into the sea while performing low-level bombing practice. Similar accidents apparently did occur over land. 1972, a de Havilland Tiger Moth flown by Brenda Heen and Max Price disappeared on a flight from Tasmania to Canberra as part of the protests against the flooding of Lake Pedder for the hydroelectricity scheme. It was believed to have crashed somewhere east of the east coast and Flinders Island, sabotaged by the pro um, development interests were alleged. So in 1978, a Cessna flown by Frederick Valentik disappeared after reporting a UFO. He also reported that it was flying above him and he could feel it latching onto his plane. People have also said that apparently he was flying upside down, looking at a sunspot. It could have been Mercury that he was looking at. So many stupid freaking theories surrounding that one. But that can be another episode. In 1979, the yacht the Charleston disappeared while sailing to Sydney to join the Sydney to Hobart yacht race. Wow. Um, we've done Bridgewater. Okay, there's one called the Broadhaven. Um, so apparently, Broadhaven is a village in the seaside resort of the southeast corner of St Bride's Bay at the western terminus of Pembrokeshire, Wales. Yeah, who cares about that? So, the Welsh Triangle, Broadhaven, Daford Triangle. I am definitely going to mispronounce the Welsh names because I'm not Welsh. In 1977, the area was scene of an alleged UFO sightings, nicknamed the Welsh Triangle, Broadhaven Triangle, or the Daford Triangle. In the manner of the Bermuda Triangle, on the 4th of February 1977, a yellow cigar-shaped craft was claimed to have landed in a field next to the Broadhaven Primary School, with 14 children claiming to have observed the craft from Silver Creature. On 17th of February 1977, the same craft claimed to have been seen by teachers at the school and other witnesses. On the 19th of April 1977, the owner of Haven Fort Hotel in Little Haven claims to have seen an upside-down saucer in the neighbouring field and 2 humanoid creatures. An investigator from the Ministry of Defence was unable to find any evidence of such a landing and further speculated that a local prankster might have been involved. So, not much on that one. Falkirk is next. Um, yeah, so it says here there's goes back to, let's start with the 12th century. In 1113, religious pilgrims from the southwest of England reported seeing glowing, fire-belching dragon emerge from the sea, flying into the air and disappearing into the sky. In January 1254, in St Albans, England, a scribe wrote of the glowing, floating light thus recorded: in a serene sky and clear air, with stars shining and the moon 8 days old, there suddenly appeared in the sky a kind of large ship, elegantly shaped and well equipped and of marvellous colour. In 1290, the friars of the Byland Abbey described a flat, round, shining silvery object flying overhead of them. However, this report is a hoax perpetrated by two teenagers in the 1950s. Um, So, on the 11th of May 1909, sightings from early May of a mysterious airship appearing over Ipswich, Cardiff, and Dublin. The two visible lights, it had two visible lights which would fly around at 1 o'clock in the morning and seemed to travel at a rapid rate. Most unlike conventional airships, it acquired the name of Scareship and Phantom Airship in one night. The same type of craft was seen in Ipswich and Cardiff. And I need to get a drink because I'm starting to feel very dry. 2 seconds.
I'm here. I'm just listening.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm just I stocked up on cheap V's earlier. So in May 19th of 1909 at midnight, the scare ship was seen over Thurston in South Norfolk by Groce's assistant, Mr. Chatham, who worked at J.A. Lemmis Cycling Home. It was 400 feet long, rapidly moving towards Norwich. He could not hear any motor. On the same day, another was seen at Wroxham in Norfolk. Um, the Willows airship were the first British airship. One had been built by 1909 and had a 7 horsepower engine built by Ernest Willows of Wales. So I'm guessing the airship would have been like um, a Led Zeppelin, but smaller. Um, an airship first crossed the English Channel on the 4th of November in 1910. The Willows, number 3 German Zeppelins, were most likely to have unlikely to have reached Cardiff in 1909. The Zeppelins could not travel at a rapid rate, being underpowered. Large inertia of possible object would infer unremarkable acceleration. In 1909, mysterious airships were also seen in Australia on 16th of July 1909, also with a large light on front and back, and in Sweden. In late 1912, the scare ships returned. On the 14th of October 1912, a scare ship appeared over Kent. In Parliament on 27th of November 1912, Conservative MP William Joyce Hicks, first Viscount of Brentford, asked Winston Churchill if Britain had any airships capable of travelling at a rate of 60 miles an hour. The Zeppelin airships had only reached the UK in 1914. Oh, that makes me wonder, could they have been like experimental Zeppelins, maybe?
At this point, nothing would surprise me. And everything is on the table in the realm of possibilities. I mean,
Especially during wartime. Like, who knows what people were getting up to?
very
In the
true.
19 in February 1942, a woman named Eileen Arnold walking down Cheltenham High Street when she suddenly experienced an altered state of consciousness as she became tuned into another reality. She became aware of a large oval shape moving slowly above the rooftops and stated that it radiated light from the holes on its side and had quills which detached one by one, also emitting light. Following the encounter, Elaine believed she had numerous psychic experiences. In 1942, Albert Lancaster believed he was abducted by aliens while working with the guard as a guard at a radar site near New Bigton by the Sea in Northumberland. He also claimed to have a sudden urge to go outside, followed by a strange impulse to look into the sky. He claimed he saw a glowing light surrounded by dark mist, and assuming it to be a German weapon, went to raise the alarm before being struck by a beam of light from the cloud. Followed a floating sensation, and then became aware back at his post. After his experience, he believed he had psychic powers for a period of time. And before you ask, no, there's no reports of being anal probed. On August 5th, 1944, according to the records released um, on August 5th, 2010, the British wartime PM Winston Churchill banned the reporting for 50 years of alleged UFO incidents because of concerns it could create mass panic. Reports given to Churchill claim the incident involved the RAF reconnaissance plane returning from a mission in France or Germany, alleging when flying over or near the English coastline, the aircraft was suddenly intercepted by a strange metallic object that matched its course and speed for a time before accelerating away and disappearing. The plane's crew were reported to have photographed the object, which was said to have hovered noiselessly near the aircraft before moving off. Do you know what they were called? Any?
No.
Okay,
What?
there's a very famous band using that name now, called Foo
Led
Fighters.
Zeppelin?
No, Foo Fighters.
Oh,
That's what they
oh,
called them. They,
really?
yeah, that's where that term came. That's where you got the name from. Foo Fighters, named after UFOs.
Oh, so are they like, do they believe in the paranormal?
One would assume so. If he named his band after the Foo Fighters, then yeah.
Oh, we have to research that. I didn't even know that.
I thought everyone knew that. Like people were seeing alien combatants during the war, but like it was reported both on English and German sides. Both reported the Foo Fighters.
Oh, we need to, yeah, I need to make a list.
That's why I have my notepad in front of me, just in case. I'll add it to my list as well.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I thought everyone knew that as a thing for that. That was yeah.
No, I just thought it was a cool name. Like, you know, I don't know. I just thought it was a cool name.
Well, if that's gonna blow your mind, okay. You know the band the Fugees, right? You know what that's short for.
Refugees? I don't know.
Wow, you actually got one right. Yay, give yourself a gold star.
Really? I was just guessing.
Yes, you actually got that one correct. I will give you that one.
Oh, well. Just remember this. Can I like savor this moment? Because I just need to. Because I know I'm going to muck up on future pop quizzes, but
Yes,
this
you
is
may
my
say.
this is my princess moment. Okay.
Yes, you may savor that moment. Uh, all right, so skipping down a little bit. So in the 1950s, we have on the 1st of June 1950, a Gloucester meteor at the RAF Tangamere base passed a flying saucer lit up with lights described as Britain's first flying saucer. The object was reported to be shining, revolving, and disk-like at 20,000 feet at 1430, which is 230, flying eastward over Portsmouth area. RAF Tangmere asked the radar station at the RAF Watling in Sussex if it had seen the object and if it had and had it on its PPI screen. It led to setting up the Flying Saucer Working Party. Just yeah. On the 14th of August 1950, a disc UFO 50 feet in diameter was seen over the Royal Aircraft Establishment at 11:27 by an experienced pilot, uh, Lieu- Flight Lieutenant Hubbard. He claims to have seen another similar experience on the 5th of September. Isn't that Hubbard guy the one that wrote all those science fiction books that freaking John Travolta made a movie of? Isn't he English? L. Ron Hubbard or whatever.
Oh, you mean R.L. Token?
Oh my god! I'm going to take your gold star away for that. It's JRR Tolkien and L. Ron Hubbard. Jesus Christ!
I'm sorry.
That was bad. Oh my god! Just wow.
Can we forget this ever happened?
Just yeah. I've never read any of L. Ron Hubbard's books. I don't intend to because they're crap. And I believe that Scientology should never come into existence because of his stupid books. But yeah. Um,
Oh my gosh, we should go into Scientology and the Amy
no,
Bradley connection.
no, we are not touching Scientology.
Sote.
I saw what they did to my friend Come Geek Some's channel when he covered some of that stuff. They went after him and tried to shut his channel down. So no,
Oh, no, never mind. I like my channel.
yeah, and you're not the only one they've gone after because they're a holes like that. So all right, so keep going. We've got 26th of August 1950. In the early hours of the morning, a 20-year-old woman was walking back to her home in the village of Stanton Drew in Somerset from a party where she decided to take a shortcut through a field near to the stone circles, whereupon she heard a buzzing sound. She turned to her left and noticed a bright saucer-shaped object hovering over the next field. A door to the craft began to open. She screamed and started to run and did not stop until she got home. Um, in On the 14th to 25th of September in 1952, exercise main brace. On the 19th of September, a silver disc-shaped object followed a Gloucester meteor returning to the RAF top cliff and was seen by the observers on the ground. It rotated whilst hovering, and then it travelled towards the west at high speed. On the 21st of September, six RAF planes followed a spherical object over the North Sea. It followed one of the planes back to the base it was front page headline on the 20th September in 1952 in the Yorkshire Evening Press, and on the 21st of September 1952 on the Sunday Dispatch, and was reported by 31-year-old Shackleton pilot, Flight Lieutenant John Kilburn of the 269 Squadron from Thornhill, Cumberland. It was discussed in Parliament on the 2nd of February 1959 and later by Labor MP Roy Mason, later the Secretary of for the State of Defence. Uh, yeah, so there's like two RAF pilots on the 21st of October 1952 saw three disc-shaped objects at 35,000 feet in the Little Rissington UFO incident. On 9th of October 1953, two BEA pilots from flying from London to Paris see a saucer object over the English Channel for 30 minutes. In an airspeed air ambassador, former RAF pilot, yeah. On November 3, 1953, Um, Jeffrey and Terry. Jeffrey and Terry were flying a de Havilland Vampire, saw a UFO over the RAF West Mailing. It was also discussed in um, Parliament, but the Secretary of State of the Air said it was just a weather balloon. Yeah, right. Um, a BAC pilot piloting a Boeing 7377 Stratocaster sees seven UFOs while traveling back from New York to London over the North Atlantic. Um, Apparently, another one was seen. He was heading for refueling with a when he saw the another seven UFOs 4 hours later near Newfoundland for 18 minutes. Captain James Howard also saw some. Yeah, that it just keeps going through like all of these ones from like 14th of October 1954, 17th of July 1955. The fact that these are all now being released, even through 1960s. Okay, I'll read this one out because it's kind of interesting. On the Friday, the 9th of February, 1962, at 3:30, having driven through Dunstable, a 35-year-old Luton motor mechanic approached the crossroads at the end of Ivanhoe Road at Aston Clinton and saw an object, the haze around the object similar to a halo, sometimes seen around the moon. There is actually a term for that when you see the halos around the moon. It means it's something to do with the ice crystals in the air. That's what causes that. Um, was driving was driving a new estate car from the Vauxhall plant to Swansea. There were black indentations at regular intervals along the object, which were possibly portholes or air vents, as seen from the reflection of his headlights. The object disabled Mr. Wildman's car engine, being oval shaped and glowing white. The object moved off at high speed to Aylesbury, and the moment the power came back to his car, the unknown craft dislodged frost from the treetops, which landed on his windshield. Um, the object is 40 feet wide and 20 feet above the ground. He went to the Aylesbury police station where the police calmed his nerves with a cup of coffee for 20 minutes. The two policemen he met at first did not believe him, but after an hour's interrogation, they began to see he was not likely inventing his story, and then he continued his journey to Swansea. And his wife was apparently said he's not the imaginative type. Then you've got a whole heap more from the RAF. 1962 in May, late late spring. Uh, yeah, it's like a ton of these. You would have to actually go into the wiki thing. Then there's like from the 1970s. So this would always stuff that was released from that 50-year claim. Uh, 1980s, 1990s, and 2000s. I'm surprised they're releasing stuff from like the 2000s.
Well, there
Um,
has to be something to it. I mean, like, I'm really surprised that there's so many triangles, but I'm also very surprised that, like, it's like we haven't heard about this a lot.
yeah, like I'm looking at this. It's still going. Like you're looking at 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. Um, it finishes 2016.
And also, if they know that these triangles interfere essentially with ships and airplanes, why wouldn't they put out like a warning? Like, don't fly here, don't go here, don't, you know?
Yeah, no idea. Hold on, I'm just gonna. I want to. I want to see where this is. The
Okay.
Black Mountain. Um, Black Mountain, Queensland. Ooh, that's up at Cooroy. I know where Cooroy is. It's not too. That's only a couple of hours up the road. Been there. Um, Yeah, so apparently Australia also has one. It most prominent paranormal triangle is the Kalkajaka or Black Mountain National Park in Queensland, which is up near Karoi. Um, I have been there. I've been through there because we I used to live further up the coast than that. Um, yeah, but there are other things here which I would love to go into, like the Monte Cristo homestead and the Bogoro jail. As I said, the Bogoro jail would be one I want to set up with a friend and go and do the ghost tours. But apparently, on the in the Black Mountains and the why it says it's in far north Queensland when it's absolutely not. It's only like 3 hours north of Brisbane. Um, Located in far north Queensland, this area is a sacred site of Aboriginal land and associated with unusual disappearance of people and cattle since the late 1800s. So let's bring that up.
It's interesting that there's cattle involved.
Mm. Okay, so I just brought the thing up for that. So the Kalkajaka or Black Mountains in Queensland is a deeply sacred taboo site to the Kuku Nunjunkul and Kuku Yalanji and Gugu Yimithiri peoples. I hope the hell I got those right. um, Serving as ancient haunted battlefields filled with malevolent spirits, giant stones, and warnings against human entry. Known as the place of the spear, it is associated with tales of disappearing people, tragic romances, and the dangerous hidden underworlds. Similar in in significance to the Gallipoli battlefields. Um, so, the battlefield of spirits. Legend tells of a massive, ancient, and supernatural war between clans or spirits, where the mountain became a final resting place for the fallen, leaving their bones scattered amongst the granite, which is why it's considered haunted. So, a Dreamtime story describes two brothers who were giants. Both fell in love with the same woman, who fought and killed each other while competing to make the highest pile of stone, leaving the boulders behind to be seen today. Apparently, there is also another narrative that tells of a chameleon like medicine man who, after being banished for eating a young chief, was struck by lightning while trying to escape in the form of a goanna, causing him to explode and leave massive charred stone piles. Um, Sacred sites within. The area includes specific sites such as the Canby, which is the Flying Fox Cave, Julbanu, a kangaroo shaped rock, Birimba, a stone for cockatoos, and Athurimbol, a place of the taboo, which each holding significant spiritual meanings. So apparently, Far North Queensland also has its own version of the Bermuda Triangle. This area has earned a reputation for mysterious disappearances, with stories from the late 1800s about people, horses, and entire herds of cattle disappearing into deep crevices never to be found. Um, Traditional owners have warned against entering, believing that the area is inhabited by devils that disrespecting the site leads to sickness and haunting even when leaving. Which is why they also say never take a stone or something from certain sacred places. Like Ayers Rock is well known for this. If you take a rock from Ayers Rock or the surrounding environs, you will be cursed until you return that rock. Um,
Yeah, I've heard stories. Yeah, agreed.
uh, The mountain is also known for whispering winds and loud booming noises caused by the granite rocks cracking and expanding due to intense heat and cold, which add to its ominous reputation. Yeah, which is why sometimes I don't. There's a lot of areas where I'm very careful where you go, and like where you run around, and what mountains you can climb and stuff like that. Um, okay, so let's keep moving. So I'm just going to bring up some. So we've gone over some of the main paranormal triangles. There's still one or two that I've got left. Um, but it says some of the core elements to the mythologies are vortex and ley lines. Many theories suggest that these areas are negative energy vortexes or locations where ancient ley lines interact, creating a window area where the barrier between our world and another is thin. There's usually cryptids and ghosts. Legends include sightings of the Pukwudgies. You will have to go back earlier to see what they are. Hairy bipedal creatures, thunderbirds, and various spectral Native Americans or phantom entities. It's also an area of characterized by high volume of overlapping different types of phenomena, making them hubs for paranormal research. Um, many
No
of these
argument there.
Many of these regions have deep, often violent historical roots such as conflicts, curses, or ancient burial sites, which are often cited as cause of ongoing unexplained activity. Nope, done that one already. I can get rid of that. I'll get rid of that one. So, uh, okay, no, no, but that. Okay, so the last one that I'm going to bring up is, in fact, the one that I've talked about before is the Bennington Triangle. Um, excuse me. So it is a south area of southwest Vermont within which a number of people went missing from 1945 to 1950. Um, this was also further popularized in two books, including Shadow Child, in which the author devoted chapters to the discussion of these disappearances and various items of folklore surrounding the area. According to Citro, the area shares characteristics with the Bridgewater Triangle in southern Massachusetts and the stories of strange happenings that have been told about Glastonbury and surrounding areas for many years. Best best known of which is probably that the disappearance of Paula Jean Weldon. Precisely what area is encompassed by this hypothetical mysterious triangle is not exactly clear, but is purportedly centered on Glastonbury Mountain, which would include some or most of the area and the towns immediately surrounding the area: Bennington, Woodford, Shaftesbury, and Somerset. Glastonbury and its neighbouring township, Somerset, were both once moderately thriving logging and industrial towns, but began declining towards the late 19th century and are now essentially ghost towns, unincorporated by the Vermont General Assembly of 1937. Uh, Robert Singley, a 27-year-old Bennington College student, got lost in the area but was found safe by the Vermont State Police in 2008. So, in 1945, a 74-year-old Mitty Rivers vanished while hunting in Bickford Hollow, about 4 miles west of Bennington and North Vermont Route 9 near Woodford. Funnily enough, we have a town called Woodford not, um, near us. It's mainly full of we call it the hip. It's like a little hippie style country town. It's not a bad place. Good place for pies. I will give them that. They make good pies. Um, Rivers was a skilled outdoorsman who frequented his son-in-law's hunting camp on the Long Trail. Was described by friends as well acquainted with the area. Around 4 p.m. on the 9th of November 1945, Rivers was seen by a friend on a nearby trail walking in the direction opposite to camp. When he failed to return that evening, a search party was launched. Extensive searches were conducted from the autumn and included volunteers from Fort Devon and the Vermont State Guard. A search party leader anticipated finding Rivers' remains, noting that numerous people had been lost in the region in recent decades, but all eventually recovered. The only evidence discovered, however, was Rivers' handkerchief found by a hiker the following spring along a trail south of his last known location. Uh, Paula Weldon in 1946. Paula Jean Weldon, 18, was last seen on December 1st, 1946, 2 miles south of the area where Rivers vanished the previous year. Weldon, a sophomore at Bennington College, left campus early in the afternoon, walking and hitchhiking 6 miles to the Long Trail, which at the time crossed Route 9 near Harbour Road. One of the last confirmed sightings of Weldon was by a local man who gave her a ride from the college to the site on Route 9 and was 2 miles west of the Long Trail. Several other witnesses claimed to have encountered her on or near the trail, including a Bennington Banner employee who gave her directions. She was dressed in a red jacket, jeans, and lightweight sneakers, but was not carrying any camping gear or clothing appropriate for frigid temperatures. Weldon failed to attend class the following morning, and an extensive search was eventually launched, which included the posting of a $5,000 reward and help from the FBI, but no evidence of her was ever found. Uh, Weldon's, Weldon's disappearance was the inspiration for the 1951 novel Hangers Man by Shirley Jackson. Um, James Tedford, in 1949, was a 68-year-old World War I veteran who went missing on the 1st of December 1949. 3 years to the day after Weldon was last seen, Telford, a resident of the Vermont Soldiers' Home in Bennington, had been in St. Albans visiting relatives who accompanied him to the local bus station and observed him boarding a southbound bus. The last confirmed sighting of Tedford was at the bus depot in Burlington, where he had a brief conversation with an acquaintance before transferring to a Bennington-bound bus at 6:15 p.m. The bus driver reported to the police that the man resembling Tedford may have disembarked in the village of Brandon, about 70 miles north of Bennington, while at the same night, Brandon police investigated a report of a man fitting Tedford's description acting queerly in the village's downtown. Tedford's disappearance went unreported for 1 week until the superintendent of the Bennington Soldiers' Home notified police on December 8. Newspaper reports indicated that Tedford was mentally ill at the time of his disappearance, and his family stated that he was despondent about returning to Bennington. Um, the popular conception is that he vanished into thin air while on the bus, but like many missing persons, there's a gap between when he was last seen and when he was reported missing a week or so later. Regarding the Tedford's disappearance, there's not enough evidence to suggest that he did not materialise, even though there's no trace of him ever found. Paul Jepson from 1950. On October 12, 1950, Paul Buddy Jepson, a special needs child aged 8, vanished while accompanying his mother on farm chores. At 3 p.m., his mother drove him to the Bennington Town dump where the family kept a herd of pigs. She left him unattended in the vehicle for about 30 minutes while she tended to the animals, but when she returned about 4 p.m., he was missing. Authorities initially focused their search on the dump and surrounding woods, but a bloodhound later tracked Jepson's scent along an adjacent road to an intersection where the trail abruptly ended. Police theorised that the rain may have washed away the scent, while Jepson's father speculated that a driver may have accidentally struck the boy and taken him from the scene in a panic. He also stated that searchers might have overlooked Paul in nearby woods because his brown and tan clothing um, blending into their fall leaves. Frida Langer in 1950. On October 28, 1950, 16 days after Jepson vanished, Frida Langer, also aged 53, went missing while hiking in the woods near Somerset. A skilled hiker and hunter, Langer had accompanied her husband Max and cousin Herbert Elsner the morning from their home in North Adams to the family cabin on the shores of the Somerset Reservoir. While hiking with Elsner around 1 p.m., Langer slipped and fell into the stream, soaking her clothes. She stated to Elsner that she intended to take a shortcut back to the cabin to change her clothes and would catch up with him later. When she failed to return, a search was initiated which included aircraft, helicopters, and up to 300 searches. Langer suffered from a seizure disorder, and her husband speculated that the exposure to cold temperatures may have triggered a seizure, causing her to become disorientated and lost in the woods. Then, if he knew this, why the hell didn't he go with her? Um, on May 12, 1951, a fisherman found Langer's body 3.5 miles southwest from the campsite on the shores of the eastern branch of the Deerfield River, in an area that had only been lightly searched previously. While no cause of death could be determined because of the conditions of her remains, an investigator theory that Langer had fallen down an embankment into a deep pond where she drowned, and her body had been flushed out months later by a spring. And that's basically it.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, yeah, now that reading into it, there's definitely not a lot to go on, but that last one could have easily have been prevented. Um, uh, with the husband going with the wife, knowing she had seizures, like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yes. But
And as for the
overall,
missing, as for the missing special needs boy, they had hogs that they were attending to at a dump. Let's say somebody did strike the boy, and they
yeah,
would, if you give a human body to pigs, they will eat it within like 30 to 45 minutes. It will be gone.
that's gruesome.
Yeah, what do you think used to happen during the gold mining days? People were fed to the pigs a lot.
I did not know that.
Mm. Yeah, it's a disgusting, but it does happen.
Is that kind of like, didn't they do that in like Silence of the Lambs?
No idea. Never seen the movie.
Oh, what? I mean, I've seen it, but I think I slept through most of it. No lie. But speaking of sleeping, it's my bedtime. Do you want to try for tomorrow?
Um, we can. I'm not doing anything. Just yeah, pick a subject, let me know, and then I can do some searching.
All right, Khaleesi, what do you want to hear? Let me see. Mm, how
There.
about something crazy like, I don't know, spells? Which spells gone wrong or something? Like magic gone wrong. That makes sense.
There's probably not going to be much there. I don't know.
Giants?
You've realistically got the Giants of Lovelock Cave. The redhead guys, but as I said, we've partly covered that already. I could
Mm,
do more of the Aboriginal stuff if you want.
yeah.
Because there are certain things I would like to bring up because I know I have mentioned it before. Like it's also to do with national pride and stuff like that. Like I know you guys have the song that you guys play at all your national anthem and all that. But we have several that our national anthem is a piece of shit. But we have other things that could be used instead.
Okay, well, how about tomorrow you pick the topic? We'll do whatever you
Yeah,
have to
okay.
say tomorrow.
I'll even like bring like the Monte Cristo house and a few other places and like Australian haunty places and stuff.
All right. I'll send you the link tomorrow. And Khaleesi, as always, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
You've been wonderful.
And hopefully we get a lot of views like you did on the last one.
Yeah, I think we've gotten up to, I haven't checked recently, but we've gotten some pretty good views.
Yeah, we got like 50. When I saw it this morning, we had like 50 views, and I was like really happy with that.
Yeah. Well, I'll start sharing more on Twitter or X.
Yep.
So, all right, guys, I'm going to go to bed
Uh, Go
and
to
not
bed,
wait
have
for
fun.
Monday.
Yep. Well, it's already Monday here, so yeah, I'm gonna go back to my room and keep playing my game.
Well, good luck. I hope you win.
Always. All right. Have fun.
Okay. Night.
Bye.
Bye.